A Russian BTR tears across open ground at high speed, yet tactically not a single soldier is riding inside. The infantry crowds the top deck. In this theater, the threat they truly dread is not anti-tank missiles, but mines. Moments later, a Ukrainian guided missile detonates just a few meters from the hull. The driver presses on. This footage from 2026 captures the immediate aftermath of Avdiivka falling to Russian forces. The adversary was attempting to push their operational perimeter further west of the city. Berdichi was the objective. Assault detachments commenced their advance, testing the enemy defensive lines. Once at the dismount point, the soldiers scramble off the armor to deploy. They secure a ruined doorway for cover, but analyzing these opening seconds, a critical flaw becomes instantly clear. Their movement patterns and basic weapon handling reveal a severe, unmistakable lack of combat experience. Rather than providing suppressive fire, the armored transport retreats along its entry route, leaving these men exposed near an active Ukrainian M2 Bradley. From this moment, their tactical situation completely unravels. Left behind on the vehicle deck is a casualty wounded by the initial missile strike. Right then, a Ukrainian FPV strike drone homes in on the retreating armor's rear. As the driver decelerates, the drone strikes, achieving a direct hit. Because the driver's hatch was left open, the overpressure likely knocked the crew unconscious. A second FPV drone arrives immediately after neutralizing the vehicle and sending the hull up in flames. Note the tactical prioritization here. The defense targeted the high-value transport before engaging the isolated infantry. Deprived of their armor, the dismounted squad is now cut off, lacking fire support. The Bradley commander immediately recognizes tactical opportunity and opens fire directly onto the infantry's makeshift defensive position. The devastating firepower of that 25mm Bushmaster autocannon is absolute. Because of the graphic nature of this engagement, some of the feed has been redacted. At a devastating range of just 10 meters, the squad stands no chance of mounting a defense. All 7 troops are swiftly neutralized. Their fatal error was operating deep in the red zone without anti-armor assets or any coordinated support. How do we assess this tactical failure? Despite the loss, command refused to abort immediately, dispatching a second transport into the meat grinder. Heavy improvised armor plates are visibly hanging from the front of the hull. The transport races blindly through the minefield, finally halting only paces away from their newly destroyed predecessor. The troops immediately begin dismounting. But before the deployment is complete, they are pinned by heavy fire from a waiting Bradley. Overhead, an enemy reconnaissance drone monitors and coordinates the entire engagement. Heavy impacts ignite secondary fires around them. The survivors scramble behind another wrecked armored vehicle. But static steel offers poor cover here. 13 more casualties are added to the butcher's bill. According to our footage analysis, only 2 combatants survived the initial onslaught. That is our tactical assessment based purely on drone footage. Subsequent battle damage assessments uncovered later feeds from the exact same grid, confirming that follow-up FPV drone strikes targeted the remaining 2 survivors. Their ultimate status remains entirely unconfirmed in our final tactical reports. Yet the adversary continues to employ identical flawed tactical patterns in this sector. We see zero evidence of pre-assault reconnaissance or coordinated shaping operations. Just 2 cheap kamikaze drones erase heavy combat assets valued at hundreds of thousands. But the attrition rate of trained infantry is the true disaster. This action remains just one grim case study. The survivors are left desperately seeking defilade behind burning hulls or in cratered earth. Without our recon drones tracking their every move, those men might have bought themselves a little more time. But hope is not a tactic, and the tactical reality quickly turned against them. April 14th, 2026. We detected a hostile recon unit that had penetrated deep behind our forward lines. Once the initial charge is thrown, our assault team breaches the structure, ordering the enemy to surrender. The point man capitulates, but the second combatant is identified as a foreign mercenary. A severe language barrier immediately paralyzes any chance of direct tactical communication. The captured soldier then volunteers to mediate, proposing that our assault element accompanies him back inside to convince his comrade to disarm. The tactical risk was extreme. As negotiations stall, both sides desperately scramble to establish some form of battlefield protocol. Then, feigning compliance just as he pretends to yield, the hostile suddenly hurls a fragmentation grenade directly toward our special forces. In the ensuing close-quarters firefight, both threats are rapidly neutralized. But the ultimate price was paid by the captive mediator, a tragic tactical outcome that no commander could have predicted. The enemy attempted a mechanized reinforcement. Just as two of their armored assets converged side by side, our high-speed FPV strike drone slammed into one unit, registering the initial critical hit. Its weapon systems failed completely, but mobility remained intact, prompting the crew to attempt a desperate retreat from the kill zone. Moments later, they struck an anti-tank mine, a worst-case tactical scenario for any driver under fire. But on this battlefield, the threat cycle never stops. Just as the driver scrambled to escape the burning wreck, a second high-speed FPV drone closed the distance and delivered another direct impact. The operator managed to hit the dirt at the last second. But our suppression assets already had him locked in their crosshairs. Simultaneous with the final drone strike, a secondary explosion completely obliterated the armored asset. From our vantage point, the driver's ultimate fate remains a tactical unknown. The two enemy survivors from the initial engagement scramble toward a nearby damaged structure where their squad mates are holed up. A tactical error. A pilot from the 47th Mechanized Brigade initiates the first precision strike on the building, serving as their hideout. The initial blast inflicts heavy casualties inside. As the surviving infantry attempts to reorganize amidst the chaos, we deliver a second strike. The resulting detonation ignites a secondary fire within the structure's core. Ultimately, only 4 combatants managed to evacuate the structure, desperately trying to drag their wounded comrades off the active battlefield. But human endurance has limits, and their combat capability was entirely spent. They are forced into a hasty retreat, abandoning their casualties. Seeking survival, they infiltrate an adjacent structure, but our strikes follow them, and all contact is permanently lost. Their trace entirely. Our next sector of operations lies near Toretsk. Operators from our East Special Operations Battalion deployed on a high-priority mission to counter enemy sabotage units targeting local supply corridors. Subsequent intelligence sweeps confirmed. The enemy was utilizing a 5-story building as an active outpost. However, executing a costly frontal assault was not our intended course of action. Moving under tight suppressing fire, our team advanced while preparing a lethal tactical surprise for the defenders inside. We unleashed heavy vehicle, mounted direct fire, and immediately following that, our assault element breached the structure. Resistance on the ground floors was minimal, but ascending to the upper levels was never part of our operational plan. As we maintained heavy suppression fire, our team rigged TM-62 mines as time bombs in the basement. With electronic warfare risking remote signals relying on mechanical time, fuses was the safer tactical choice. Charges said our assault team immediately executed a rapid tactical withdrawal from the structure. Minutes after they cleared the blast radius, 3 coordinated charges detonated simultaneously, gutting the stronghold. The shockwave collapsed a massive section of the building, successfully neutralizing the target position. At dawn, enemy forces launched a massive combined arms push toward Kramatorsk. Our intelligence confirmed the 5th Separate Assault Brigade and the Kholodny Yar Storm Brigade held this sector. Simultaneously, the Ukrainian Phoenix drone unit was locked and ready on standby. Their opening strike successfully neutralized mobility on an enemy armored vehicle. But the adversary pushed relentless assault waves, committing heavy main battle tanks and armored personnel carriers. The enemy retrofitted their armor with thick rubber plating and steel chains to degrade the impact of FPV drone strikes. Our assessment showed Phoenix operators feared the sheer volume and velocity of the assault would overwhelm them. The hostile force didn't just push across open fields, they attempted a violent breach through the high ground. Eventually, defenders immobilized a heavily up-armored tank against the hostile crew escaping on foot. The tactical situation forced our command to deploy devastating cluster munitions. Undeterred, the adversary committed secondary armored elements to the sector. However, incoming units caught in the cluster strike zone panicked, initiating a disorganized retreat without any situational awareness. Our drone operators pursued relentlessly, keeping pressure on these retreating armored targets. Simultaneously, we engaged incoming reinforcements. Aerial reconnaissance footage clearly reveals these assault vehicles were heavily wrapped in defensive steel chains. This countermeasure aims to detonate FPV drones, prematurely degrading their cumulative shaped charge effect. Yet one enemy soldier realized the imminent danger, anticipating the catastrophic blast. At the absolute last second, he bailed out, desperately fleeing the kill zone. The remaining crew inside had zero chance of survival. The armor suffered a catastrophic defeat, erupting instantly into a massive fireball. A secondary ammunition cook-off completely ripped the vehicle apart from within. The defenders depleted nearly their entire tactical drone inventory to critical levels, but this sheer determination successfully halted the enemy breakthrough. Across 5 distinct combat waves, we confirmed 9 vehicles completely destroyed and 4 heavily damaged. Enemy personnel casualties remain highly disputed, making exact battle damage assessment impossible at this hour. Casualty figures remain unverified under the current fog of war. Subscribe to our channel for more strategic analyses. Thank you.